You tap your phone, and instantly, it responds. But have you ever wondered how a flat piece of glass knows exactly where your finger touched? Because there are no buttons, no moving parts, and yet it feels almost like magic. So how does a touchscreen actually sense your finger? The answer is far more fascinating than most people realize. Let's uncover it. Welcome back to Simple Things, Deep Origins, where simple things reveal deep origins. At first glance, a phone screen looks simple. Just smooth glass. But underneath that surface is a hidden layer of technology. Your screen isn't only made for displaying images. It's also designed to detect you. And the key is something invisible. Electricity. Because your finger doesn't press anything. It changes something the screen can measure. But what exactly? Here's the twist. Your finger is actually interacting with an electric field. So what does that mean? Most modern phones use something called a capacitive touchscreen. Inside the screen is a transparent grid, made of tiny conductive lines, usually using a material called indium tin oxide. This grid holds a weak electrical charge across the surface. When nothing touches the screen, the charge stays perfectly balanced. But the moment your finger approaches, it disrupts that balance. And that's the moment the phone detects your touch. But if the screen senses electricity, why doesn't it work with everything? Why does it need your skin? Your body naturally conducts small electrical charges. So when your finger touches the screen, it draws a tiny amount of charge toward itself. The phone measures that change instantly. That's why fingers work perfectly. Gloves sometimes don't. A plastic pen won't register, unless it's a special stylus designed to mimic your finger. So the touchscreen isn't feeling pressure. It's sensing electrical change. But that raises another question. How does it know where you touched? Your phone doesn't just know you touched it. It knows the exact location. How? That invisible grid inside the screen works like a coordinate map. Rows and columns of sensors cover the entire display. When your finger changes the charge, the phone calculates which row changed, which column changed, and exactly where they intersect. That intersection becomes the touch point. And it happens in milliseconds. That's why you can type quickly, scroll smoothly, play games accurately. But then comes another mystery. How can it sense multiple fingers at once? If it's just one grid, how does it detect 2 or 3 fingers at the same time? Modern screens don't just detect one touch. They detect many. The grid is constantly scanning for multiple disruptions. So when 2 fingers touch, the phone tracks 2 points simultaneously. That's how gestures like pinch to zoom, rotate, multi-finger swipes, all become possible. Your screen is basically performing hundreds of measurements every second. But what about older touch screens? They work differently. In old smartphones, touch screens didn't sense electricity. They sensed pressure. So what changed? Older touchscreens used resistive technology, which worked by pressing 2 layers together when you touch the screen. Because this system relied on physical pressure, it could be used with almost anything, a stylus, gloves, or even non-conductive objects. However, resistive screens were less accurate and didn't feel very smooth or responsive. Modern smartphones switched to capacitive touchscreens because they are faster, more sensitive, and capable of detecting multiple fingers at once. This improvement made gestures like pinch to zoom and smooth scrolling possible. That's why nearly every phone today uses capacitive touch technology, so the next time you tap your screen, remember what's really happening beneath the glass. Your touchscreen isn't reading pressure. It's reading electrical changes caused by your body. A hidden grid. A constant scan. A tiny invisible interaction every time you touch the glass. If you enjoyed this episode of Simple Things, Deep Origins, subscribe for more hidden science behind everyday life. And comment what simple object we should uncover next. Until then, stay curious.